All right, guys, welcome back to the ALGS channel. Hope you guys are all doing well and having a great day so far. Good bit to dive into and discuss in today's video, updating you on what's happening inside of the world of Apex Legends esports. Unfortunate news coming out of 07 in the EMEA region, of course, and honestly, I'm not too surprised that this stuff was going to happen at some form of capacity. Now, it isn't as bad as just blatant visa issues, but it does seem like that we are running into issues because of the visa process. So we're going to dive into and discuss what's happening in the scene right now. Also, we've got a little bit of a snippet, I guess, of some more advertising coming out of the ESWC and some really cool stuff that's going on, and I'm very excited for as well. So if you guys want to stay up to date, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's dive into what's happening right now. Firstly, wanted to make mention of Oversight Pro Series. Once again, Block 2 winner coming from yesterday, Dark Zero. No surprise here. One of the teams of all time, let's just say that. Of course, one of the literally best teams that we've ever seen in the game, and of course even recently with the Pro League, first place. These guys know what they're doing. No surprise here. TSM in second. What I really love is Geared Gaming in third. That's the South American region team that obviously has a lot on their shoulders, I guess, a lot to prove here, a lot to really get away from them, because so many people are saying, hey, you know, this team's never going to make it, that region's never going to make it, they're never going to be good enough. So I know they're excited about a third place coming out of those guys. And you've also got the Block 2 winner, which I think the other one was also called Block 2, but this is Group C and D. So Alliance actually took this one. Team Legacy in second, of course, going to be Team just going to be Team Liquid pretty shortly. So I'm assuming maybe even as we get into LAN. Then you've also got Furia in third place. Now, someone had asked me who I think is most likely to win Split 1 playoffs, and honestly, if I had to guess now based on some changes that have happened, I would put in order, I would go probably Dark Zero, then Furia, then TSM. And the reason I literally only say TSM in third, just because I'm like, at some point the consistency's got to run out. Nobody's perfect, and at some point they've got to just be good instead of perfect. I mean, those guys just win everything, and at some point they've got to get a third place and not a win. Then Dark Zero, I feel like, is just due for one. They're also playing really good right now, sort of lights out. Furia is a team that would probably be one of the best teams, if not the best team, coming out of the preseason if it wasn't for the roster changes that they had. I think they were like the most consistent team in scrims going into that, and so now that they've actually changed back to Vaxlon as the third, they may tap back into that energy and get back to where they were. So I look for Furia. Honestly, I do think they're a top 3 team potentially in the entire world, so we'll see how that goes. Now, obviously, I just called a top 3 that's all North America. I kind of want a non-region team to win, and I also really root for Legacy as well. So we'll see how it all falls in place, of course, and even Moist Esports, I really like to see those guys also. But anyways, that's just my prediction. I really look for Furia to step it up since their roster change, and I think they'll have a lot more success into that as well. Also wanted to mention, coming from Gnaske, this is some unfortunate news, but also some shots being fired at the same time. So you've got fortunate news and unfortunate at the same time. So the good news is that Amphi posted he got his visa approved. The bad news is basically he has to wait 2 to 7 days in order to get his passport back, and basically that's going to run into some issues possibly with the LAN event. So Gnaske on Twitter had said there's actually a chance I'm alone at LAN for the first 2 days. The ALGS admins are not telling me anything regards to substitutes and stuff, but I've asked on 3 different occasions, and at least as a solo player, I'll probably still get better placement than Matafi did at previous LANs. But here's the deal. If it is a full-blown 7-day issue here, then of course you might have some problems. I do think that, you know, the whole 2 to 7 day thing, it'll probably happen more than likely, fingers crossed, sooner rather than later, and I'm hoping that there's no issues like that, but it is possible. And of course 07 may be in a very, very bad spot, and you might have to be in a situation where, you know, like you saw last 2 years, you've had some teams have to play as a duo, and of course it sucked, and it's even kind of cringe to watch, knowing that it probably could have been prevented if we would have had the announcement a lot sooner. I still don't understand why they announced where the LAN was going to be like a month and a half before it actually happened. Now, of course, these pros probably had a little bit more of knowledge about all of this stuff happening, but maybe it's also a little bit difficult to get this stuff approved when it's not public knowledge. You know, how do you go to an office and say, hey, we've got this event coming up. Where's the announcement of this event? Oh, there's no announcement. I just heard, you know, that. So I don't really know how hard that could be at times, but yeah, there is a chance that we're currently watching right now with 07 possibly having some issues with their full team being able to play at LAN at the same time. Also wanted to mention some updates coming from the Esports World Cup. Of course, this is supposed to be a $60 million plus event for the entire, esports. So I think Apex in there is probably going to get around 2 or 3 million or so. I think they said around 2 million. So it's going to be a very big event. Now, this will not be region based or, you know, country based like a normal World Cup. It's just going to be the esport teams from what we've heard now. So that means TSM would be competing as a TSM roster, not, you know, just finding all these North American players or American players and then Canadian players. They're not going to go through all of that stuff. So it's just going to be your generic esports teams, which I think has its ups and downs. I really would love to see some countries being represented here. I think that would probably give a little bit more pride to it. But I think when it comes to this big of a tournament, I would like to see some of these organizations get represented and some of these organizations get benefited for investing into the scene. So this is actually over in Vegas. Not only did they have something the other day, but they're still advertising again. And you can see Imperial Howl is all over this stuff. It's really nice to see the Apex scene being advertised on this scale. I mean, this is a really big one. So the Esports World Cup putting a lot of money into this. Obviously, this sphere is not cheap. So not only are they putting Apex, they're putting the CEO himself, Mr. Imperial Howl, on this. So really big ups to a big tournament that's going to be taking place this summer. Very interested to see what you guys have to say about that one as well. Also wanted to make mention of a couple things. The Challenger Circuit split 2 dates have now been announced as well. That's going to be June 8th through the 10th, June 22nd through the 24th, July 20th through the 22nd, and August 3rd through the 5th. Then we've got to make mention of a big one. So we're going to be going into a new season 22, not 21. Obviously 21's coming up soon. Then the following season, we should be getting the brand new district battle royale map. Now this one looks insane. If you've not seen this already over on our main channel or even on our TikTok, it's probably the most beautiful and aesthetically pleasing map I've ever seen. It's got a lot of like this Tokyo, Japan vibes, neon signs and such. So this is like the overview of the map. And according to Oz, here are some POIs that you could see as well. I really like the way that this map is set up. I love the vibe. I love the way it looks. It's just overall going to look, and honestly, we're due for a new battle royale map when it comes to comp. Obviously, I've actually spoke to a pro recently who said they really liked playing on Olympus because it was something new, it was fresh, but then there was also this skill gap, right? You know, so good players could really get ahead of the competition pretty quickly, and players are wanting a new comp map. They are desperate for a new comp map, and honestly, I think we're going in that direction, and I'm pretty sure you're going to see some big changes coming up in the next couple of seasons, and then probably even in the next ALGS year. You're going to see a new comp map getting involved and getting implemented, and probably maybe saying goodbye to World's Edge. Not 100% sure on that. I personally would like to see 4 maps, and if we're going to do 8 games like they have been doing, then let's do 2 games on each map. And I would just really like to end it with maybe one of the more favorited maps. Like, so if they really do like the new map, let's end it on that, or Storm Point, or whatever is the favorite at the time. I really love this though, and I hope we're going in that direction, and maybe we will be, and we'll have some better news in the coming weeks and months. Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section below about all the topics mentioned in today's video. Of course, like and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all things going on inside of the world of Apex Legends esports. And until the next time, we will see you all later, Gators.